What's going on, everybody? My name is Jelena Ostrovska, and I have a super special guest with me today, which I'm absolutely excited about. Someone that I've been kind of like talking in behind the scenes a little bit lately, a guy who has built up a massive YouTube channel in the personal development niche of over 600,000 subscribers, which it's kind of like crazy to think about it. Evan Carmichael, also the author of the book, Your One Word, that has been published just a couple of months ago. And so welcome, Evan. Super excited to see you today. So why don't we kick it off? Can you give us a little bit about your background and how you got started in this whole, YouTube and online marketing and business world?
Sure. Well, first, it's fun to be here. I like your vibe. I like your energy. I like everything you're doing to help entrepreneurs. So I'm looking forward to a fun little session with you. My background. So I started off, I had a biotech software company when I was 19. I didn't think I was going to be an entrepreneur. It just kind of came upon me, and I didn't want to live with the regret of not knowing if this business would work or not. At the time, I was failing and not having a lot of success, but managed to turn it around. Sell my company. We can go into details later if you want. Started off just wanting to help entrepreneurs. I had a huge struggle in getting that first business off the ground, and was making $300 a month, and not able to survive. And I thought it was going to be easy to be an entrepreneur. All the stories and the articles and people making all this money and having a lot of success. I thought I could do this. Why can't I do this? And I didn't realize how hard it was. And so after I had gone through the tough times, I wanted to try to help out other entrepreneurs who are going through the same process. It started off with me speaking at different events. I was asked to speak. That transitioned into a website. That transitioned into a YouTube channel. I never wanted to be YouTube famous. It wasn't my goal when I started YouTube, I want to have 600,000 subscribers or 1 million subscribers. It wasn't my initial goal. I just wanted to help out, to learn myself. So we profile famous entrepreneurs, and I learned a lot from that process. And I also wanted to just help out other entrepreneurs who are struggling with their companies and trying to get it to the next level. I think entrepreneurs are the heroes of our society. I think all the major problems of the world are not going to be solved by government and not going to be solved by big companies. It's going to be solved by entrepreneurs. So this is the way that I know how to give back. And so that's what I'm trying to do.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I like your kind of like motto to help 1 billion entrepreneurs and like on a larger scale. So can you talk a little bit about this? Because I was just like recently listening to one of your interviews and obviously reading the book, which we'll get into in a second. So can you talk a little bit about this?
Yeah, my goal is to help 1 billion entrepreneurs. And when I say that, some people love it, and some people come and say, well, how are you going to track if you hit 1 billion entrepreneurs? And how do you even know if there's 1 billion people who are entrepreneurs? It's not so much tracking the goal. I don't have a metric to track the goal, really. And I don't know if there are 1 billion entrepreneurs out there. What it does, though, is shape my thinking. I want to be able to work on projects that has the ability to impact a lot of people. So the reason partly why I wrote the book was because here's another chance to reach a wider audience. The reason why I did YouTube was here's a chance to reach a wider audience. I want to be able to talk to hundreds of thousands and millions of people at a time as opposed to one-off things. So I don't do consulting. I don't do one-on-one work. That's great for a lot of different people. It's not what I want to do. Even though I get asked a lot of times. And so having a big goal, having a big mission helps align the work. So when you look at your calendar and you look at your daily activities, look at what you're doing every week, does it map? Does it align with what your big goal is? And for a lot of people, it doesn't. You have some big goal that you want to accomplish, and then you look at the tasks that you're doing, it doesn't align. Like, I'm doing half of these things don't help me get to where I want to go. And so that just helps me focus on the tasks that I'm doing and making sure everything I do has a potential for high impact.
Love it. Yeah, because, a lot of the things that people, maybe like including myself every now and then, I really struggle, but they're talking 101 and trying to do a lot of things like kind of the hard way. And with internet, I always tell people, like, we live in 21st century, so there's a way to reach way bigger audience, a leveraged way using something like YouTube or, a website like a blog or something like that. So so powerful. So you mentioned briefly a little bit about that you wrote a book. So how can you talk about the book and how you got the idea? Should I say? I'm sure it's not like a 2-month project, right?
Yeah, it took me about a year to write the book, and was thinking about it beforehand as well. I never wanted to write a book. It was never I have an agent in New York who said, you need a book opens doors, a book makes you a brand name. It's like, Steve, I got a YouTube channel, like I have a popular website. It's not 50 years ago, right? I can open doors with what I have. I don't need a book to help that process. And so I never wanted to write a book. As we started talking, he said, well, let me talk to publishers anyways. And if I was going to do anything, it had to be with the publisher, because again, I'm motivated by impact. I could have made more money if I self-published it, but I want distribution, I want impact, and so that's the decision to go with a major publisher. So it's with Penguin Random House. Mm-hmm. As we started talking to the publishers, they wanted to do something else. I wasn't really a big fan of it. And then the idea for this book came to me, where I had been experimenting with running my business around my one word, which is believe. And I came to that through a long, torturous process, but discovered, my whole life has been about believe. Everything that I love, everything I know has been about believe. And when I started applying that to my business, things started to take off. We talk about YouTube. My best video that I had made had 100,000 views on it. And like 100,000 views, that's a great video. I was so proud of that video. And then I made a video around believe, and we had 100,000 views in 1 month. And that video now sits at 2 million views. And so anything that I touched around believe seemed to take off. And I thought, this is kind of crazy. I built my whole business now around this one word because it's core to who I am as a human being. I wonder if there's other people who have done it as well. And I traveled across North America interviewing different entrepreneurs who had built different levels of business. So the first guy had a $50,000 business and just made a full-time income for himself. The next one was a $500,000 business, and a $1 million business, and a $5 million business, and a $150 million business. And all of these people had built their business around their one word. And nobody had a blueprint. They just kind of felt their way through it. And so I thought, this is pretty interesting. How about I write the book around it? And so the concept is, I believe everybody has one word that defines them. You as a human being have core values. And when you can understand what the most important core value is for you, then you can start living a life and bringing that to your business with more intention. A lot of the happy things that have happened to you in the past have been random occurrences. And now what I want to do is help you plan for those to bring more of those into your life consistently. And so whether you are an entrepreneur, I know that's mostly your audience, or whether you are married to an entrepreneur, whether you want to one day be an entrepreneur, understanding, having a self-awareness to know what it is that you stand for, and then bringing that to your life and to your business makes a big difference. And I thought that that was a good topic to write. If I was going to write a book, that's the book I wanted to write. Initially, my publisher thought it was a worksheet. Like, you can't make a book out of that. That's a worksheet. And well, it became a book, and it was actually twice as long. The original draft I had was twice as long as this book, and we cut out an entire book from the book. So yeah, it's been a fun process. It's been amazing to see how people have picked it up and applied it to their life and to their business, and helping, what I wanted to do is have an impact.
Exactly. So, just like out of curiosity, so writing a book is like such a big project. So I guess my question would be how, it requires a lot of focus and a lot of concentration. So I know it like helps to have a lot of, assistants and a lot of, you have a team of people that work with you. So how did you really focus on just getting it done? Because a lot of the times I heard some stories where people just like go to a hotel for 2-3 days, log themselves out, or was it like a long process for you? So how did the book come around?
Yeah, I think we all have these things where there's big projects we need to work on, and it's hard to finish them. We start and stop and start and stop, whether it's writing a book or building a website or launching an e-course or whatever it is. It's easy to start and stop. I think there's the whole theory of big rocks first. I think if it's important to you, you have to find the room in your calendar. Mm-hmm. I only get stuff done if I plan it. If it's in my calendar, it's going to get done.
Exactly.
If I hope it's going to happen, it never happens. I live and die by my calendar. I saw you had a video on your channel about what you learned from Tony Robbins, and we just came back from LA. He was doing the course there, and I took 5 people on my team to go see it as well. And immediately coming out of it, it's like, okay, for me great, it's a high, it's energetic, you feel great, it's a party. Okay, but if you want that to sustain, you want it to last, I have to figure out how to put it into my calendar. So I live and die by my calendar, and anything that's important to me has to go in there. And it means other things are being taken away. Like to put in time for the book, it means I take away something else. In my leading up to it, it was just actually out of curiosity. I wasn't trying to write a book. It was just doing interviews, talking to people, understanding how they did it. And in those conversations, I thought, this could actually become something. Once I decided to write a book, then I made 1 day a week my book day. So every Tuesday, the entire day was me writing my book. I actually documented the series. I had a series on my YouTube channel called Evan's Book, where I would walk to the local coffee shop and I would film off my iPad or phone or whatever and answer some questions. And then I would just sit down and work the whole day on the book. I definitely agree in that if you're doing a creative project like writing the book, then you need a good chunk of time. It's hard to do it in here's 20 minutes and then here's 15 minutes and here's 40 minutes. I need a chunk of time because it takes me an hour just to get back into what I was thinking before. And then the rest of the day I can be pretty productive. I had a team of people who are helping me, but I did most of it myself. I tried working with a writer to help me do it, but she couldn't get my words as I wanted them to be said. Because when I write, it's short, it's punchy, it's easy to understand. I hate books that are hard to understand. And I think it may be because I'm in Toronto and so many people in this, it's such a diverse city. What city are you in?
I'm in Latvia, Europe.
Latvia, okay. So, in Toronto, everybody's from somewhere else. There aren't that many people who are actually born and raised here. It's a city of immigrants. And so we grow up learning to accept different cultures and deal with different people. And English as a second language is everywhere here. And so I wanted a book that people would be able to understand and read. And I also hate having to read a book and it's like 50 pages for the end of the chapter. And then you're reading and you have to put it down in the middle of the chapter. I hate doing that. And so I wanted to write a book that was easy, had powerful knowledge, but is also super easy to understand, even if English wasn't your first language. And so nobody could write like I wanted it to be written. And so I wrote almost everything. The only thing that I didn't write was the interviews. So when I did the interviews with those 5 companies I was talking about, the 50,000 to 150 million, I had somebody sit in with me. And it allowed me to ask the questions. So I would ask them the questions and she would take notes on what they were saying. And so those are their words. And so she kind of copied and edited down the page, but everything else is me. So it's a lot of work. It would have been so easy just to put my name on the front and then hire some writer and say, go and do it. But the goal is impact. It's not just to sell X number of copies. I want people to read it. I want people to love it. I would rather people buy 1 copy and do something with it than buy 100 copies and it just sits somewhere on the shelf, right? I wanted people to take action on it. And so for me to have the ultimate impact, I had to write it. It's like, if we're doing this interview, I could send my assistant to do the interview, but it's not going to be as impactful, right? And so I had to write the book. It had to be in my words. And so the team can help. I think with any creative project is understanding what do you bring to the table that adds the most value. And so for me, it was writing the book and asking the questions in the interviews. I had people to help me with the design. My editor helped me with the editing, typos, mistakes, that kind of stuff. But the bulk of the work was me because I wanted to have an impact.
Yeah, and I love those tips. Work like with your calendar because, man, like I'm a freak when it comes to organization. A lot of people, they just are so disorganized and they're trying to figure out. I always say, if it gets written down, it gets done, period. If it's on my calendar, I know I'm going to do it. If it's not, I'm totally going to forget it. And yeah, you totally cannot outsource your personality and just like yourself, right? You can outsource different tasks and, hire a team, but, your face should be definitely there. I was talking to a friend of mine and I was like, ultimately what we need to do is just record videos. Everything else, you can't outsource your face, right? So love it. And I like that the book is written down in such a simple language to understand for everybody, because English is my second language as well. Like it kind of becomes my first since I, talk a lot, but it's so easy to consume because I've read some books, like let's say Tony Robbins on the background. It's it's tough. Like he's using that language that is, specific, some neuroscience, and this is like quick. And I like the worksheet that is actionable. It's you read, you take action, and then you can change your life if you actually, take action on it, right? So love it, love it. So one of the questions that actually my audience asked, and I kind of feel like I maybe know the answer, but how did you build up such a massive YouTube channel? So obviously it's a ton of content. It's like thousands and thousands of videos. So did you just focus on building up a YouTube channel for a long period of time, or were you building up a website and doing a YouTube channel and and all that?
So just quick on your last comment first about the simplicity. I appreciate you saying that, because I got into big fights with my publisher around it. They wanted it to be these long paragraphs.
Oh no,
across, like multiple. This is how a book is supposed to be. Like, guys, I'm not doing that. So I actually didn't even show them the final version until it was too late. Like they couldn't go back and change it because it was too late against their deadline. So they had to go with it. It's been one of the most positive feedback. So I might copy this clip and send it to them.
Rules are meant to be broken, right?
Yeah. Anyway, people love it. And I agree. I think if you can easily understand a book or video or website, then it's easier to take action. It just is. To your question about YouTube, I never wanted to be YouTube famous. I said that. I started the YouTube channel for two reasons. One, I had learned a lot by modeling success, by looking at people who had done more than I had and trying to learn from them. Not for me to be the next Steve Jobs or whoever, but for me to be a better Evan Carmichael. In my first business, I told my partner I quit. I wasn't making any money. I felt so worthless. It was the only time in my life where I was working so hard and it felt like nothing was coming back. Where anything else, I felt like in sports, in school, if I worked harder, I would get further. If I didn't work hard, I wouldn't get further, but at least I know why I didn't get further. And here I was working hard every day and I wasn't getting results. And the thing that saved my company was Bill Gates. I've never met him, but his story, not how he makes an extra $1 million now, but how did he make his first $1 million? How did he get the company started? And I learned from him, his story, and I applied it to my business. And that's when we started to see a turnaround in the company. And so I thought, if I could learn from him and that saved my business, maybe I could learn from other people as well. And maybe I could share that to provide knowledge for everybody else watching. And so that was part of the reason I wanted selfishly for myself to learn. I would sit and watch, 8 hours of Elon Musk interviews and videos. And in those 8 hours, you have like 7 minutes of really good stuff. And I wish somebody just watched everything, took out all the other stuff and just saved those 7 minutes and gave them to me. And all entrepreneurs, when there's a pain point, when there's a frustration, instead of just complaining about it, we do something about it. Yep. So I said, I'm going to go and do that. I didn't want to do it. I wish you did it. I wish somebody else did it. I just want to be a consumer. It would save me a lot of work, but it didn't exist. So I did it. That on top of people were asking me questions. And I was doing speaking and, people was asking me questions and I was flattered. I was honored. I'm sure when you first started your coaching business, when you make a video and somebody asks you a question, it's like, I got a question. Wow. It's like, so I was writing back to everybody and it takes you 30, 40 minutes to write back on a really detailed email. And as the questions started building up, I thought, this is crazy. Now I'm not going to have the time to write back to all of these people who are writing. It's a good problem to have, but I thought, maybe I should make it a video instead of typing up a long email because I'm better on video than I am in writing. And it will help that person and it will also help other people who may have the same problem who may never write into me. So that was the combination. At the start, it was learning from these famous entrepreneurs. And then for people who wrote into me asking for advice, I would just share it via a video. And that was the genesis. That was the starting point. As we started getting more traction and more attention and more views, I slowly built up my team. I increased the frequency of the videos. To start, I was doing a video a month, then it became a video a week, and then it became a video a day, and then it became 2 a day. Now it's 3 a day. So we got 3 videos a day going up on the channel. And that scaled with my team. As my team, as we started making some money, I hired a team. We put that back into the channel. We started growing. I think to have success on YouTube these days you need to be looking at really at least daily content. It's hard. It's hard. Just based on YouTube's algorithm, they promote people more who are producing more content. Now, it still has to be good content. It's not just throwing up junk every day, because then people won't care. But if you want to take YouTube seriously and turn it into a business that really helps you, I'd be looking at how do I make a daily show? How do I have daily content on my channel? That's what YouTube really wants to see.
And also like your strategy, I was listening to another interview. So you are not obviously recording, you're recording some videos as well, but you're not doing this like some people do a video a day. I'm like, I ain't got time for that. I typically, like, my strategy has also been, I record a lot of videos in bulk. Like, I sit, I just change the shirts, and it looks as if I record videos on a different day. And I heard that you have been doing something like, are you still doing that, like 80 videos a day?
Yeah, we did it yesterday, once a month. I think batching is super important for time management, not just in business, but in life. Like, do you do laundry every day? No, like you do it once a week, every 2 weeks, however many clothes you have, right? And so it allows you to do things more efficiently. It's one, because there's setup costs and setup time. Like if you're going to do filming, I have to set up lights. I have to have my camera guy there. I got to get mic'd up, all of that stuff. I got to get in the zone. I got to think, okay, now today I'm doing this. And so to do all of that for one video and then take it down doesn't make sense. It's better to keep on going with the flow. I have every day of the week, I do one thing on that day. So today's Thursday. I'm recording this, at least it's my public facing day. It's all interviews. It's interviews, meetings, phone calls, interviews. That's what I do all day long. And I think it also helps get me in the zone for it. So naturally, I'm an introverted person. That may not come out. I'm yelling and excited. But in general, I'm very introverted. If you want to talk entrepreneurship, it gets me excited. But anything else, I'm like, maybe the Toronto Blue Jays is our sports team, and also dancing, a couple other like topics. But otherwise, I'm not talking to the people next to me on airplanes or going to networking events.
The same thing here.
So a day like Tuesday when I was writing my book is perfect for me. It's like I'm alone, I'm by myself, I have the whole day just to do whatever I want, write on my book, I don't need distractions. For a day of interviews, every time to get ready for an interview, I need to, it's like I need my extroverted Evan, I got to get my, my conversation skills going. And what happens before an interview, usually, like half an hour before, you're not really being productive. It's like, oh, okay, interview's coming up. I can't really do anything. So let me research, or let me go on Facebook or whatever. And so doing it like this, like I'm forced to hop from one to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. And it just, each one gets better as we go on with time. And so with the videos, I was doing it once a week. I was doing it on Wednesdays once a week for the week. So I'd film 20 videos on Wednesday, which I thought was pretty good compared to what most people were doing. And then I thought, I wonder if I could do this all in one day. It came from my cameraman because he wanted to work a full day instead of doing like half days. I said, what would that look like if we were to film like 60 to 80 videos in one day? How would that work? And I was worried about my team being able to do it, but I was most worried about me.
Yeah, talking for so long.
Could I? Yeah, like it's all day, right? It's like 8:30 in the morning, boom, all day filming, coffee break quickly, and then back filming, eating while I'm like looking at the question. And could I have the stamina to do it, to stay fresh, to still have my voice, to still have energy by the end of the day? And I didn't know if I could do it physically. And the fact that I didn't know it meant that I had to try it. Like I gotta see. Maybe I'm not capable of doing it. That's okay. But I need to know where the limit is, if I can do it or not. And it's worked out. So we film once a month for most of the videos for the channel, and it's an entire packed day on Wednesday. And I think in general, anything that you are doing multiple times per day, try to do once per day, like email, like social media, like anything that's popping up distractions. Anything you do multiple times per week, once per week. For me, it's like meetings or working on the book or filming videos, right? Doing once per week. And anything that you do multiple times per month, do once per month. And the more you can get into that habit, it frees up just so much of your time to be able to focus on other projects. I freed up 3 Wednesdays a month because I can jam one Wednesday a month filmed to do all my films in one day.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. Love it. So we have like a couple minutes left. So, what would be your maybe like 3 tips for anybody who is starting in the whole entrepreneurial world? What would you do? Like if you had to start all over, so what would you do right now in like 21st century with all the technology, with everything that it has to offer?
So I think we may have profiled more successful people than anybody on YouTube, but maybe anybody online. I don't know. We've got a huge collection of successful people. The first thing I would say is it has to be something around your passion. It's the number one thing that always comes back. If you are starting a business just trying to make money, you're not going to make any money. You have to do the thing that you love to do, even if it doesn't make sense at the start how to do it. You make the big decisions with the heart and the small ones with the head. So my heart says I want to be a YouTuber. Then your head is, okay, help me figure out how. What are the strategies? What do I need to do? What's the gear? What's the team? Blah, blah, blah. All of those strategies come from the head. But it has to be something that's leading from the heart to start with. Second thing is, I would say lean in on your core value or your one word sooner. Or for those who haven't figured it out, figure it out. The self-awareness makes a huge difference. When I get asked what advice would I give my 20-year-old self or 25-year-old self, it's always around, I just wish I leaned in on belief sooner. I wish I understood it sooner. I would have had way more impact sooner. And so when you understand what it is that you stand for, you get to play your agenda instead of other people's plans and agenda for you. Because everybody has a plan for you. Everybody has a plan for your time. Your friends, your customers, suppliers, the government, they all have plans for your time. Until you know what it is that you stand for, you can't really control that time. And then the third one would be model success. Look at people who've had success, who have done what you want to do, and understand how they got started. Again, like how Lady Gaga makes an extra $1 million now may not be relevant, or what she does on Instagram now may not be super relevant, but like, what did she do at the start? How did she build her career? If she's, where she was at one point where you are at right now. And so how did she overcome that? How did she get to where she is? And so I learned a lot from those kinds of stories. I would look to people who are in your industry who've made it. So if you want to be a YouTuber, look at other YouTubers, look at their story. If you want to be a software person, look at other software companies. And then I'd also just look to people who you respect and look up to. If you want to be a YouTuber, you could still learn a lot from Michael Jordan, who isn't on YouTube. Just if you really like that person, if you have a role model, a hero, and you see how they started, it'll inspire you to take more action and to play a bigger game in your life. So follow your passion, understand your one word, and model success. Those are my 3.
Love it. Love it. Seriously, people just need to take it to heart and implement it as much as they possibly can. Really following what people have done when they first started and what adversity they had to overcome to get to where they are right now, not to study what they do right now, right? So love it. Great advice. So thank you so much, Evan. I really appreciate your time. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today on this interview. So if you guys have not been following Evan and you've been living under the rock, then you can head over to his YouTube channel at, I believe it's youtube.com/Evan Carmichael. And evancarmichael.com. And if you've been struggling with branding or if with anything, not knowing where to start, then pick up this book, Your One Word. I believe it's going to be backwards on the video, but Your One Word, evancarmichael.com/one word. Hopefully I'm getting all the websites right. But again, thank you so much for the interview, and I'll see you on YouTube.
Cool. Thanks for the love, and thank you for everything you're doing to help inspire entrepreneurs in your way as well. You're fighting for good, and I appreciate it.
Absolutely.